And we are live.
Hello.
Hello. We're actually in person this time. How exciting.
Yes.
It's your boy Darnald Jr. and
Michelle the Seller, Wealth Tattletale.
that's right. And this is Finlit Live, and today we have a very special guest. Not so special, but it's me.
Very special.
So I'm gonna share my story today. So I have a treat for you, especially for those that have kids that are interested in going to college. This is a show that you definitely want to get into and learn more about, right?
Absolutely.
So let's dive in.
We're back.
We're back.
So today, he said my guest is not so special, but I beg to differ, you guys. So I do. This is a special moment because you guys are used to seeing him, interview other people and things like that. But I know that he has something very valuable to bring to the table, and I want to pick his brain so that you can get some great insight for those of you that will have students that are going to college. And I think that this will be very beneficial to let them watch if they are preparing before they go to college, so we can avoid some common mistakes made with college students. Because if you don't know, you just don't know. And so I'm going to be exercising my journalistic chops tonight by doing this interview myself, and I'm really excited about it. Are you excited about it?
I'm excited.
Good.
Yes.
So, y'all know I need to put my glasses on, okay? So, I got some good stuff that I need to find out from you. And so you are considered an authority on the matter because you did something amazing that most people don't get to do. So getting out of college is a big deal. Most people concentrate on, oh my God, I graduated, I have my diploma and everything. But what's behind that diploma most time is a lot of student loan debt.
Absolutely.
So tell me a little bit about yourself before I get to pulling out these questions.
Oh, you're good. So basically, I'm Darnald Kimble Jr., as you all know. I was actually born in New Mexico. So I'm actually New Mexican.
All right.
Little known fact. And but my family's from here, from Houston. And basically, my dad was transferred to New Mexico. So that's why I was born out there.
Okay.
We lived there until I was 5 years old.
Uh-huh.
And then we moved back to Houston because they got homesick. And this is where all our family is.
Right.
So went to North Shore Elementary, middle school, high school, and then went off to college.
Okay.
And so was very active. I'm now married. Just celebrated 5 years a little over a week ago now. So time's flying by. You blink and it's gone.
Yes.
And so that's a little bit about me.
So where did you go to college?
I went to Baylor University.
Baylor.
Sikkim Bears.
Yes.
We didn't do too well in March Madness this year. We got knocked
will
out.
not hold that against you.
So, but that's okay.
Baylor University.
Yes.
So, was that the college that you always wanted to go to, or?
Yeah. So basically, when I was looking at colleges, I applied to 3 different universities.
Mhm.
So I applied to Texas A&M, Baylor University, and Abilene Christian University, ACU.
Okay, I'm not going to tell you about my history with Abilene.
Oh,
but I
really?
attended there too. No, I love it. I love it. I love it.
Okay, good. And so I received one of the best advice from one of the gentlemen. He said, "Don't let the money make the decision, but really pray about it and see where the Lord's leading you, and then follow that desire."
Right.
And I was like, "Okay."
So you prayed on it.
Absolutely.
And what did the Lord say?
The Lord said, "Baylor University."
Well.
Sikkim University, Sikkim Bears.
All right.
Yep. And logically, that wasn't a good choice because my parents were divorced and my mom was raising my sister and I.
Mhm.
So it's just the two of us. Yeah. And to be going to a private university at the time was over $20,000 a year, which is insane. And it's like $60,000 a year now.
Mm-hmm.
I can't fathom the people that are going now.
Exactly.
So, yes.
So when you're getting prepared for college, the family's excited. We're filling out, applications. We're waiting for acceptance letters and all of that kind of thing. So when you went to college, did you have any means of financial support? Did you have any scholarships or anything like that?
Yeah, so that's one of the things I encourage all high schoolers to do.
Uh-huh.
apply to as many scholarships as possible.
Yes.
So
and how early should they start doing that applying?
start freshman year, the moment
Yes.
you enter high school. But I was very fortunate. So I took the SAT, and Baylor had a scholarship called and I didn't tell you this earlier, but it was the President's Scholarship.
Okay.
And so basically, you have to have over 1,200 SAT score and be in the top 5% of your class to get the scholarship.
Okay.
And so I was in the top 5%, but I took the SAT the first time, and I actually got 1170 the first time. And so I ended up going through these courses, and I took the SAT again and got over 1,200. And so I ended up with the President's Scholarship, which was over $28,000 scholarship.
Y'all know this boy got a big brain, right? So, starting early, and that's one of the biggest mistakes, is that students wait till their senior year, and they get in a panic trying to apply for college and things like that. And so that's great advice to just let them know you go to school in the midst of being a freshman, and you start this journey.
Absolutely.
And that journey includes your academics. Please, students, don't blow it. The freshman year is usually the time when they wild out. The GPA, you need to have a sparkling GPA to get into some of these good schools. So pay close attention to that. So what I want to
also get involved in organizations.
Yes.
Because they don't want somebody that just has a really strong GPA, but they don't have anything else on their resume.
Right.
Like, what's going to differentiate you from all the other applicants from across the nation? So get plugged in. Like, I was part of the Honor Society. I was on the drum line. I was part of French Club and Debate Club and all these organizations.
And it's easy. And just like it is when you're in college, you're trying to dress that up. You have to do that in high school in order for them to say, hey, yeah, you're a good candidate to, for us to have you here at this university. So loafing around and just, hanging out, you have to dress that resume up, honey. Put some lipstick on that resume, make it look real pretty, right?
Absolutely.
So that's great information. I want to talk about the aspect of, you mentioned a single parent, and so your mom and dad, you were 6, I recall, yes?
Sixth grade,
of course. But you still had the support of 2 parents.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so that's something that I wanted to bring out. Darnell was not, in a household with a single mom, and it wasn't, well, we moved it on up. It wasn't a situation like that.
My dad gave me a lot of support.
Yes, and so that's the one thing that I want to make certain that people know. It was a situation that he had the support of both of his parents. So I want to make that perfectly clear.
Absolutely.
And so you were in the honor society at your school. And I remember you said this, when your mom was a single parent, she was making certain that you guys had food on the table, a roof over your head. She was a hardworking woman. Yes, he does. And so, but she gifted you something that really made a difference in your life. And what was that?
Absolutely. So my senior year of high school, she gave me a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. Mm-hmm. And when she gave me the book, I looked at it as a senior in high school, a little 17, 18-year-old. I'm like, I don't want to read that.
Yeah.
But when I picked it up, I could not put it down. Mm-hmm. Like, one of the things it encourages in the book is financial literacy. Hence, that was the heart behind the show, and it was the seed planted. Mm-hmm. We're about to celebrate our 20-year graduation this year, so 20 years ago. It's been 20 years exactly.
Your mom planted that seed.
Yep. Mm-hmm. She planted that seed. And so that's what inspired me to go into the major I did. So I chose, I always knew I wanted to run my own business. Mm-hmm. And I knew that Baylor, I wanted to become an attorney because part-time, part of the organizations I was involved with was teen court.
Okay.
And teen court is basically where kids get to go to court, actual court, with the real judge, but everybody else is teens. So the prosecutor, the defense, the jury is teens, mm-hmm. and it's a real kid on trial. And whatever the jury decides is whatever community service that the teen has to do.
Wow, okay.
And so I really loved that process. And I was like, oh, I could become an attorney.
Yeah.
And so Baylor had a pre-law program, and I was like, oh, this is perfect. I get to go learn how to be an attorney and then go to a Christian university. And it was just working out really well. Mm-hmm. But my ultimate objective was always to run my own business because I feel like God was calling me into the business industry to be a
Right.
missionary to business.
Yes. And so having the desire to go into business, you knew that that was, that was a calling for you.
Absolutely.
It was a calling. Um, and that's different from a job, y'all. It's a vocation. So God was pulling at you to go in that direction. And so you negated going to law school and you decided on what major?
Entrepreneurship.
Entrepreneurship.
So when I was looking through the course catalog, I saw that they had an entrepreneurship program. I was like, well, instead of going the law route, I could just dive straight in and
Yeah.
learn how to run a business.
Right.
And I got a little pushback from my grandmother. She's like, people don't have to go to college to run their own business. I was like, true. So I had to have a little backup. So I added computer science as a minor.
Okay.
Just so I could have a skill set that if I did have to work for somebody else.
Right, right. I think that was a very good, solid, combination there with your business degree.
Absolutely.
So you did that, and you mentioned something to me. Okay, your minor, you got a business degree, and then your minor was marketing.
Well, my minor was initially computer science.
Computer science.
And then I was spending 16 hours a week, like debugging programs. And I was like, I'd rather spend 16 hours talking to people versus debugging a program.
Okay.
So I dropped my minor and added a second major.
And added a second major. So, and that was, you had something, you had an emphasis on sales.
Yes. So basically, Baylor has a sales major.
Mm-hmm.
And that was my background. So in high school, I started selling knives. Yeah, Cutco.
He said knives, y'all.
Yep, knives.
Knives. Okay.
And that's what sparked my interest in sales in general.
Okay.
And so, but then my internship in college ended up being a sales internship too. Yes. And so I was like, I wanted to be a sales major, but I would have to stay a whole year longer to complete that degree. So they said I could do marketing with the emphasis in sales. So that's how I ended up with marketing, entrepreneurship and marketing double major with the emphasis in computer science.
Okay, so now we've got this young man into college. Okay, we've got him into college. He's decided his major, and he has some, he has a scholarship and everything. But even though you have a scholarship, there are other expenses. A scholarship does not take care of college in its entirety. There are other expenses that you have to have. And so you had this desire that you wanted to be debt free in college, right?
Absolutely.
So this is the basis, the strong basis for this interview, because I gotta know this. The people want to know. So now that we have all of that out of the way, you're using your scholarship and everything, and what other expenses do there at?
Absolutely. Well, let's not get it twisted. The scholarship only paid for 1 year.
Okay.
Just 1 year. And so there's 3 other years I have
to
be concerned about. Yeah, so there's the rest of the tuition for the rest of the years. And then obviously lodging and food and everything else. Fortunately, my dad bought my car, so I was very grateful for that. I didn't have to worry about that. He took care of my cell phone and everything. So that was a blessing.
Yes.
Huge blessing.
Yes, absolutely.
So my goal, like I always told, when God gives you a vision for something, I always say He also gives you the provision.
Ooh, that's
when
good.
God gives you the vision, He'll give you the provision.
Yes.
So when He called me to Baylor, I literally told God, "You're gonna have to pay for it."
Right? Yes. Yes. Because He's obligated to care for you. He's obligated to take care of you when He calls you to do something. And He's not gonna say, "Hey, look, I want you to go build this skyscraper." And how am I going to do that? He's going to make certain that you have the means in which to do that. Absolutely. He's going to be your source.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
And so
I always love saying God is the source and everything else is just a resource.
Absolutely.
So when He called me there, I was like, okay, we're going to get out here debt free because God's going to pay for it. So my freshman year, my family and I, we took out a loan for my freshman year. And I lived on campus, so I was in the dorms. And then my second year, I got the opportunity to interview to be one of the RAs on campus in the dorms. And the RA is such a blessing because it takes care of your room and your board. So that was one less expense I have to worry about.
Okay, I know. As an educator, I know what an RA is. for that student that will be watching this, tell them what an RA is.
Good call. So RA stands for Resident Assistants.
Mhm.
So basically, in every single dorm, they have a senior person on the hallway to monitor the freshmen. The sophomores, making
To
sure
be the boss of y'all.
yeah, make sure they're not going crazy. And so they're responsible for each of their hallways. So that's
Okay, and so being an RA, then that means that you have a little financial cushion there, right?
Absolutely.
So explain that.
Yeah, so basically, since I was RA, it took care of the room and the board.
Yes.
And that's a huge expense,
Mhm.
especially at a private school.
Right.
And so, yeah, so that was part of the journey.
Mhm.
And it's a matter of living frugally and
Yes.
not spending beyond your means.
Yes.
And that's huge throughout my college journey.
And so, you have to be a very responsible student to be chosen to be an RA.
Absolutely.
Responsible. Your GPA has to be favorable and all of that. So, now that you have this room and board expense off, does that give you room to go and turn up? Were you turning up?
No.
No?
Just,
Come on, now you have extra money. No turn up?
So, okay, so my freshman year when I was living in the dorms, I went up to one of my buddies, Jordan Candy. Thank you, Jordan. You're the man. I was like, how are you paying for this expensive school? And he's like, it's funny you ask because I have this crazy summer internship. You should come check it out. Come check it out.
You want to go and check out an internship and not go to a step show.
Sure. Yeah.
You want to go check out an internship and not go to one of the parties in the dorm?
Correct.
Now this is interesting.
Absolutely.
So, who did this internship entail?
So basically, since my degree was entrepreneurship, when I went to this meeting about the internship, they told me I got to run my own business during the summer. I was like, oh my gosh, this is perfect. I have to go to college, learn how to run a business, but then the 3 months during summer, actually do it.
So the pieces are coming together. The puzzle is coming together, right?
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. So I was like, pick me.
Yeah.
And it didn't hurt that the average college student made over $8,000 in the summer.
$8,000 during the summer.
Yep.
I mean, you rolling in the dough as a college kid, right?
Yep.
All right. So talk about.
So when I went to the information meeting, I was like, pick me. And sure enough, they picked me. And so they told me that I was going to be selling books door to door, minimum 80 hours a week in the summers. And I was like, let's go. And I actually loved it. And well, it had its ups and downs, honestly, but towards the last 2 summers I did absolutely love it.
Okay, so you went that first summer. You got acclimated to it. You picked up on it. You loved it. You were skillful in it. It was ingrained in you. So then you go back and you do it a second summer.
Absolutely.
What happened when you returned that second summer?
Yeah, so if they invite you back for the second summer, then you're a student manager. And the responsibility of a student manager is to actually recruit and build their own team during the school year. Mm-hmm. So I was doing that on the side while I was going to class and doing everything else. I was also working in the library in the computer lab, checking out laptops and debugging laptops since computer science is my background.
Stop, hold on. Tell them the name of this company. I think we overlooked.
Yes.
The name of the company that he was working for. Tell us who that was.
So at the time it was called the Southwestern Company. Now it's called the Southwestern Advantage Company. They're based in Nashville, Tennessee. Mm-hmm. They've been around since 1858. So, yeah, they're one of the oldest companies in America. They initially started selling Bibles door to door, and then they switched over to education in the early 1900s.
Yes.
So that's currently what they do today. They recruit college students to go sell books and software door to door.
And so now, this is a helpful hint that I want to stress. Remember the name of this company because they are still in business today. So college students that are looking at opportunities to earn this type of money to do good with, make certain that you remember that going in. Absolutely. And this is during your summer that you'll be able to do that, right?
Yeah. And so obviously the money was good, but the skills I learned and the principles I learned were priceless. Yes. And they're still instrumental for me today, mm-hmm. like how to maintain a positive attitude no matter what, yes. how to keep going, how to manage your schedule, how to manage your finances. Mm-hmm. So we learned all these practical skills during the summer and in the most extreme of environments, but that's something that nobody could ever take away no matter what happens.
So you did this for how many? You did this for how many summers? Consecutive summers? How many?
4 summers.
4 summers
yes.
consecutive. And so this means that he made sacrifices. And
Absolutely.
anything that we do and that we're determined we have to make sacrifices. So who wouldn't want to be going to Fort Lauderdale during the summer? Yeah, he would love to have done that. But he had goals. What were your goals?
Yeah. So my ultimate objective was to graduate debt free.
Mm-hmm.
And so we did take out loans my first 2 years in college, but since I had added a major, I had to stay extra semester. So my last 2.5 years, I was like, Mom, Dad, you don't have to pay a dime of my college. That's all on me. So
Wow. So now that's a gift in itself that a student will tell their parents, it's on me. I'll pick up the tab for my education. And I'm telling you, I mean, I would have danced the jig. I mean, I can imagine. What was your parents' response when you said that?
they were very grateful. Yeah,
Very grateful,
absolutely.
tenacious,
Tenacious.
very tenacious, and I would say your business acumen was really coming to the forefront even at that young age, and it's a mindset shift. Would you agree?
Absolutely.
And all of those skill sets that you've learned, you implemented and you executed them at that time.
Absolutely.
Most people would have just, hey, look, I'm making extra money. They wouldn't have thought about relieving their parents of paying college tuition.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, talk about perspective.
Yeah, perspective is huge because and I actually have a greater perspective now,
Mm-hmm.
like even 20 years out of college than I did even then,
Right.
because I didn't realize the gravity of what student debt is doing to our generation,
Mm-hmm.
to our society right now.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's a fact now that student loan debt is actually higher than credit card debt. And it's
Mm-hmm.
holding a lot of people back
Yeah.
from getting their first mortgage, from getting a house or car loan. It's hurting their credit
Right.
right out
Right.
of college,
Absolutely.
and they have this
Absolutely.
debt to income ratio that's a lot not favorable for them.
Yes.
And
Mm-hmm.
so I didn't realize that at the time those were going to be all the consequences of people holding on to student loans and having huge amounts of debts. I know a lot of people that go and get masters and doctorates, and they come out with over $100,000 in loans and just like blown away. It's like, okay, yeah, you have your degree, but now you have to pay it back. And I've heard of
Right.
people literally going their whole life and not being able to pay their
Really
student
to
loan
pay it back.
back.
Right.
And it's just
Mm-hmm.
like, that's horrible. And I didn't realize that until recently.
Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
so it's so imperative for people to be proactive about it. And if college is like Baylor, like now is what, $60,000, and if that's unaffordable, don't do it. Go to a community college.
Mm-hmm.
Take care of your basics at something that's more
Right.
affordable.
More affordable.
And
Right.
then once you graduate, you could transfer to a major university. And guess what? It's still going to say the same name on your degree, on your diploma.
Exactly.
It's not going to say, "Oh, you only went here for 2 years."
Right.
It's going to say
Exactly.
Baylor University or Texas A&M or wherever you go. But
Perfect
even if you get
information. Perfect
absolutely,
information. And you're speaking from a student's perspective, and I can then you know relate from a professor's perspective because in the classroom the sacrifices that you made in order to make this come into fruition that your parents did not have to fund your education, but the things that students then hold to higher regard than making those sacrifices for the long term, they're pledging. Did you pledge in school?
you know,
Okay. And so they are doing, they're going to the step shows and all of that kind of thing. I can remember students coming in having slept all weekend long because they were going through a hazing process or pledging process or anything like that. But those are the sacrifices and that you made, and most people glamorize the fun part. All of that. I mean, people ask me, "Did you?" No, I didn't pledge or anything like that. But I'm excited that this interview is happening because this is so valuable for the the college students to watch this. We're not trying to rob you of all of your fun. We don't want to be fun killers, do we?
I did have fun,
Yeah,
but
see,
not
yeah,
that much fun.
yeah, not that much fun. But here's the thing. But what you didn't realize is that you're still going to be a very young man when you graduate, and you still have all that time to do that without the student loans and the lessons that you walked away with.
Absolutely.
It's worth sacrificing some step shows and some pledging, right?
Absolutely. I do want to make this one point too, that I lived super frugally the whole time that I was in college. So after, obviously I was in the dorms my freshman and sophomore year, but when I moved out of the dorms, I moved into a house with a couple of guys from my church. Actually 6 guys.
Okay, cool.
And so our total rent was $900 a month. And so we just divided that 6 ways. So my rent in college ended up being $150 a month in rent.
Wow.
Yes, I didn't realize how amazing that was. I mean, I knew it was amazing, but I didn't realize how amazing it was until I graduated. And my first apartment was going to be $600 a month. And now that sounds amazing. Inflation, you know?
Right.
But $150 a month.
Okay, and so $150 a month. What other frugalities did you implement? What other stuff were you doing?
Yeah, so obviously eating. And so going to a grocery store, making sure did that on a weekly basis.
Right.
And
so you were cooking meals, right?
Or just the quick things to pop in your mouth and go. Yep.
Okay. And how about, so you had a car.
Yes.
And you have to put gas in the car and you have to do maintenance or whatever. So were you,
Fortunately, I was close enough to campus where I could ride my bike back and forth.
The man had a bike on campus?
I did.
The man had a bike on campus.
It was because parking was horrendous up there.
Yes. So if you got a parking space, you want to keep that parking space. So you don't move that car that often. Absolutely. So the bicycle on campus, and of course, you would I would see a lot of that. Kids on their skateboards, riding their bicycles. I mean, there was one of my students, Fred Okafor, I will never forget this guy. And he wanted so badly, he wanted to work at NASA. But this guy, he was such a brilliant mind. But every day, he came in my classroom with his skateboard in his form. He used his skateboard to go all over campus. And so it was good physical fitness. And tell you don't really have to gain that freshman 15, do you? You can still be active, active. And so that's a good thing. So you cut down on the transportation cost of gas. You were preparing your meals or buying quick things, and you weren't eating out. You were paying $150 for rent. So, and at the time you were working, you were still
working on computer lab and recruiting. Yep.
And recruiting.
Yep.
So he had those means of income, but they were coming in. They weren't leaving out. Good advice. Good advice.
It's so important. Like just being mindful. And one of the things that we haven't talked about that's a huge issue for college students specifically is credit cards.
Yes.
So, so like I made sure I did have a credit card, but I made sure it was paid off every single month. And that was very instrumental in helping me get my first mortgage.
And when they started getting the credit cards when you're 21 and they know that you're graduating from college, they figure, oh, they're going to have a job. They can pay for this credit card. So they start sending you all the credit cards. Please, 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 please tear them up, because no one is guaranteed to have a job when they finish college, right? It's the ideal thing, we would hope, but not many of them do. And so that credit card debt that you get into, it's a stinker. It sticks around a long time and you don't have the money to pay it. And they don't just send you one credit card application. They send them in big numbers. Please don't apply for the credit cards. You will regret it. You will regret it. So you said you were able to apply for your mortgage because you were very responsible with that one credit card that you used. You didn't get all of them that were sent to you, right?
Absolutely. Like I had over 700 credit score when I got my first place. So.
Look at the alien, guys. An alien. A 700 credit score. Can't you see him glowing in the dark? But that's amazing.
Yep.
And how old were you when you'd gotten married after college?
Marriage was way down the road. But I was 24 when I bought my first condo.
Bought the condo.
Mm-hmm. And I was in California.
Right. So that's a big purchase at 24. But he already laid a great foundation to be able to do that.
Absolutely.
Um, I want to ask you this question. Now your profession is, you know, all of the things that you did. It played a significant role in what it is that you do
Absolutely.
right now.
Absolutely.
And talk about connecting the dots. Your dots were connected quite well, and you
They
said,
were.
well, I do the insurance and everything like that. But talk to us about landing that ideal job that you're doing right now to this day. That you gotta love it, right?
Absolutely. So when I went to college and I chose entrepreneurship, naturally the question is, what type of business do you want to start?
Right.
And the whole time I was in college, I was like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I just know I want to run my own business. And so since I went into sales for my internship, I knew it was a great career. And ironically, all these insurance companies try to recruit me straight out of college.
Mhm.
And I was like, I'll never sell insurance. Never sell never, right?
Never say never.
My only regret is I didn't start out of college now. Like, why
Yeah.
didn't I start then?
Yeah.
What you know now?
Mhm.
Whatever.
Mhm.
You live and learn, right?
But there were lessons to learn
Absolutely.
in between
In
that
between.
time. So
Oh, a lot of lessons.
yeah.
And so it was perfect because, like, as an independent insurance agent, ultimately we are running our own business.
Right.
We're 1099. Like,
Yes,
we have to
exactly.
pay our own taxes. We have to do everything. And basically, it sells. Like, insurance, it sells.
Mhm.
And so I had the marketing with the emphasis in sales. So that was perfect. And then the entrepreneurship. So that was perfect for running my own insurance company.
Mhm.
And so here I am today. I'm celebrating, about to celebrate 12 years in May with Globe Life Family Heritage Division.
That is
So,
a great accomplishment, and which it's a great accomplishment, but it would be hard to believe if you tell most people that because you look like such a teenager, right? And it's like,
I'm almost 40.
yeah, married 5 years, been on in the same career for 12. Yeah, that would be hard to believe for most people because you still have that youthful glow.
Praise God. Praise Him. Praise Him.
Yes, praise Him.
A lot of water.
Yes, a lot of water, and waking up in the melanin doesn't hurt either.
That doesn't. That's true.
But I am so happy that we did this interview, and you're very, very insightful and a wealth of information and valuable information for this topic. And we're all so fully invested in the success of our children getting ready for college and everything. I mean, having those college parties and all of that kind of thing. But we need to go to college with information in those backpacks.
Absolutely.
Valuable information so that you do not fall into the common pitfalls. And this is what we're here for, financial literacy in every aspect. We want to make certain that we're giving you the gems that's going to help you in the long run. You're pretty amazing.
You're pretty amazing.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. That's awesome.
Okay, so I see that we have we
So we're going to open it up to the audience.
Yes.
So if you guys have any questions, feel free to type in the comments. And while you guys are doing that, I'll share my contact information. So if you like to reach out to me, you can reach me by email.
Mhm.
And so it's dkimble at dfgrp.com. So D as in dog, Kimble, Kim as in Mary, B as in ball, LE, at D as in dog, F as in Frank, G as in group, R as in Roger, P as in Paul, .com. So Darnald Jr. D Kimble at DF. I have so many emails. And then also, obviously, we have our Pinlet Live website, so you definitely go check that out. But if you feel like you know anybody that's has high schoolers or people that are going to college or in college, definitely share this video with them.
Please do.
Because being debt free coming out of college is a huge subject, and it's not accomplished very often unless you get a full ride. And even if you get a full ride, there's still a lot of other extraneous expenses that people don't realize. Mm-hmm. So like room and board and everything else. So
yes, indeed. So this is great information. Absolutely great information. And also those of you that will be watching this later, please subscribe to our channel. We are elated. Our numbers are increasing, and we're excited about that. And these videos are for you to share with people so that we can educate our community on the benefits of being financially literate.
Absolutely.
Okay?
So if you got any value out of today's, please like and subscribe. Looks like we do have one question.
Okay.
So I know you're a little bit further, so I'll read it. What should someone do if they want to start fresh financially if they're not college students, meaning in debt or bankruptcy? So what should someone do if they want to start fresh financially if they are not college students, meaning in debt or bankruptcy?
Okay.
So first of all, it's education.
Mhm.
Like I always say, the difference between where you are and where you want to be is education.
Education.
And so that's one of the hearts behind the show, is to get people financially educated. So if you don't have, like, a lot of times people use credit cards and they don't realize, oh, I got to pay it back. Oh, it has
And
interest.
the interest is skyrocket.
Yes.
Yeah.
You not only pay the cost of the item, but you end up paying it back way more
Mhm.
than what it is. And so sometimes it could be 15%, sometimes it could be 20+%. And so you end up paying way more than the cost of the item itself. So just getting educated on how that works. And so,
And my input is going to be, if you are trying to get out of debt, and you have to have a good relationship and a respect for money. You cannot have all of your money in one pile and you're just spending out. Budget. That's key. You have to have a budget. You need to know where your money is going, and you need to make sacrifices. When you look at your bank statement and you see that you've been to Chick-fil-A 3 times that week, when you look at your bank
I love
statement
Chick-fil-A.
and you, as you know, so many people do, and you look at your bank statement and you see how many times you went shopping, and I mean, at the department stores and things like that. You have to see those things that you can live without. As a woman, if I never went shopping another day in my life, I'm not going to work for anything. And you need to shift some things around in your closet to spruce up your wardrobe. Because if you're on a mission, you're going to have to make those sacrifices. If you want to know what to do, you're going to have to sacrifice. And no one wants to look at their bank statement and see you don't have money left at the end of the week, but you would have had you not went to Chick-fil-A 3 times that week, had you not went over to the department store and bought those. Oh, those shoes are cute. Oh, this is cute. You have to have a budget. And let me tell you something. A budget does not mean that you have to make a whole lot of money. You don't have to make 6 figures in order to have a budget. If you make 35,000, if you make $40,000 a year, there's still a way for you to have a budget. You just have to make sacrifices and clean up some stuff. Clean up some, and somebody mentioned bankruptcy. Go ahead. What were you about to say?
Oh, I heard about the story of this guy. He made $40,000 like max his whole lifetime,
Mhm.
but he ended up a multimillionaire.
Yeah.
And the way he was able to do that is by paying himself first.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times we pay the creditors, we pay everybody else, and then once everything's said and done, we don't have anything to show for it. And so basically, he would set aside money and he would pay himself first, and then he would pay everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And so he would do his budget based on that. And so that's key, and
Yeah.
it's the sacrifice and the discipline.
Exactly. You mentioned how frugal you were in college or whatever. People have to live their lives. Hey, live like you're a college student. All right.
Yep.
Live like I ain't got it. Right.
Yep.
And so that's the thing. It's that you have your savings, save money, pay yourself, and if it's not in that budget for that month, you just don't do it. Sacrifice. I cannot stress that enough because women, we love pretty shiny things all the time. We love it.
That's
Just reach in your closet and just rearrange some things. We have another question.
yes. This one's from Tamara Von Scott. It says, what can we do to start educating our young people early on remaining debt free so that they never have to get out? Get out.
First of all, this is what I need to say about that. You have to make your children a part of the conversation. Because if they don't know the value of money, how are they going to take it seriously? So when you're talking about a budget, you let your kids know that you're setting a budget.
Absolutely.
You let them know so that they'll understand when they go to the department store or whatever. When they say, "Mom, can I?" and you give them this look, okay, okay, I know it's not in the budget. You let them know the sacrifices that you're making to make certain that they have the things that they need. You meet your children's needs, not their wants. Your children don't have to have every pair of Jordans that come along. They don't have to have every game that comes along. They don't have to have those things. Those things are not enhancing their lives. It's empty in your pocket. Show them how to go outside and play. You
So
know, I mean, it's just the truth. I think our kids are the most spoiled in this
absolutely.
generation now. It's like I just don't get it. My kids didn't even have. I did not have a joystick in my house.
For sure.
It was. I think we just give them too much.
So going along the same vein, but maybe a different approach, is I encourage you to take your kids on a mission trip as quickly as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Take them out of the country, take them to even Mexico. Like you could go across the border. And the reason I say that is because they'll see how these kids are living.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been on mission trips all around the world. I've been to the Philippines, I've been to Africa, I've been to Mexico several times. And it's so humbling. Like, and I always say if I have kids and they're grown enough to understand what's going on, I want to take them out of the country as quickly as possible so they know how blessed we are in America, so they won't take anything for granted. Right. They realize how little these people have, but they were some of the happiest people I've seen.
Yeah.
Like they didn't have to have the Xbox or the PlayStation or the cell phone or anything like that. So get them out of the country as quickly as possible.
Yes, and I think that showing your children what wealth really is. Wealth is not the things, and that's where we place so much value on. If I give my kids this, and if I give them that, people are gonna know that they're well taken care of. Well, they're well taken care of if you teach them the value of family, of kindness, and that things are earned. Stop giving and make them earn and know the value of it. Give your children, and this is key. My children still have the same bank account that I opened up with them when they were in high school.
Nice. I do too.
Yes, still have that. So you teach them, you take them and you open up that bank account with them, and you teach them the value of putting money aside. That teach them that things are not given. No one's giving you anything on your job. You got to go there and you have to work for it.
Absolutely.
You have to work for that promotion. You have to work for it. You apply those same concepts when you're raising your children. I had 3 children, and I took very good care of those little children. You know what? I met their needs, and it was a big deal when I met their wants. And so the thing is, nobody gets $100 pair of shoes in my house except the person that works and earns the money, right?
Nice.
And that's the thing. But I taught them the value of earning and of budgeting. They understood when it's not available, it's not available. I never had my kids to throw a temper tantrum because I didn't give them something.
Nice.
No, this is because you train them to understand and give your kids books. Make them read. Make them read. I would have to travel all over town when John Grisham dropped the new book because my kids that was something they look forward to, a good book.
That's awesome.
And so broaden their horizon, teach them reading, teach them what it takes for you to earn a living.
Absolutely.
Because they take for granted that they flip the light switch on and it comes on, that there's a roof over their head, that they have. Make them understand the value of things.
Absolutely. That's huge. Looks like we have another question. It says, can you talk about a counselor in school?
Talking about getting a counselor in school?
Yes.
Can you talk about getting a counselor in school?
So I think he's assuming college, like getting a college counselor to help with course load and
Okay. So usually we like as a faculty member, we are responsible for being somewhat like a guidance counselor when we're talking to them about their degree plans and things like that and keeping them on schedule. Now, if this is what he's talking about, it's very important for your student to have that because I've seen students take courses twice because no one was instructing them on, you don't need this course, you don't need that course. take this course, take that course. They're just earning credits and not having any type of guidance. It's important to make certain whenever you are in college, find out who your guidance counselor is in your department. That's going to be key. And bug them. Never let them make you feel that you're getting on your nerves because this is your life and you sometimes have to force their hand to do their job. I know their caseload may be, heavy or whatever, but it's their responsibility. So whenever you need it, you get into school, make certain that you know who your guidance counselor is, and keep those frequent appointments with them, because you'll take, a class, and you're not paying attention. You've taken another class. They may have named it something else. That's the same course. It's the same course. You've taken it twice. You've wasted time and you've wasted money. And so don't try to wing it. You're not supposed to understand it. Don't try to wing it. That counselor is very, very valuable for you. Very valuable.
Absolutely. I know some of my friends didn't graduate on time because they didn't take the prerequisites to
Yes.
their major course, and it ended up in a mess.
It's a whole. And there's so many train wrecks that could happen there at the end when they look at those transcripts, and you've not taken what you needed, or you've omitted something, or it's so many things that can go on. So that was a really good question.
Yes. Well, thank you guys for the questions. Oh, looks like we got one more question. It says, beware of financial aid counselors who encourage you to take out loans, especially for frivolous things other than getting an education. It happened to me.
Oh no.
Sorry to hear that.
And let me say this. For instance, like at Prairie View, the freshmen would be in, starting their freshman year, and if they didn't get their financial aid checks in time or something like that, then the ladies that would be over the dorms, they would come and scare the scare tactics. Yeah, no, not if they didn't get their checks. It's like if they didn't pass a particular course, and so you're gonna have to check out and all this kind of stuff. It would scare them so badly and then they were like, and so they would tell you you're gonna need to drop. They would drop the course, and then come to me and tell me that they can't be in the class because the mother over the dorm said that they needed to drop, which was the biggest falsehood ever. But then it's going to take so much work to get that student back in that class. And I had to explain to them, and it started being a part of my spiel at the beginning. If anyone tells you because you failed a class that you have to drop, don't listen to it. You tell them to come and see me, talk to me, because they can't get back. It's hard to get back in, and these kids, they're afraid. Yeah. They're scared. They haven't been away from home and everything. And so if somebody tells them to do that, that's what they're going to do, and it just screws them up so bad. And it's so horrible, the things. And like she said, taking out loans for stuff that wasn't educationally based, but you're stuck with that. So everybody is not honest and doing things that's going to work in your behalf when it comes to your education. So make certain that you ask questions, and a lot of times those questions could be geared towards the people that are going to school with you, right?
Absolutely.
So ask them, what did you do? And sometimes they had somebody that could help them. So never be afraid to ask those questions if you're uncertain and you don't know. And just because they are in authority doesn't mean they're always giving you the right information.
Well, thank you guys for asking your questions and sharing your comments. And so if we don't have any other questions, thank you for your time.
Well, thank you.
You did a great job. It's different being on the other side and being the person being interviewed.
Right.
So, but I hope it was value for you guys. If you got any value out of this, go ahead and like and subscribe to our channel. And we look forward to talking to you guys in the future. And let's get lit.